thanks for watching Numbskull News. And today I want to get into why does the Big Ten hate Florida State? They don't. But, you know, if you're listening to some SEC freaking dirtbag, a fella by the name of Paul Feinbaum, I'm sure you know him. Yeah. This guy knows jack and shit when it comes to realignment. As we all know, you don't need to be some high accredited university to get into the Big Ten. Mostly in the past that was probably true, but FSU, they're eventually going to be AAU. They've been in the running for a while. Really, really good educational school, even not being AAU. And as far as making money and a business partner, a great ad for the Big Ten, FSU would definitely be that. And everybody knows it. The business side of things. The academics will come later. As far as your accreditation, AAU status, that would come later. And the Big Ten knows that. They have Nebraska. They've talked to them. They're going to go get their AAU status again. You can go get it. I'm not saying it's easy, but you can go get it. And Florida State definitely has resources to obtain that status. So that's dumb shit. Now, having cleared that out of the way, there's another topic that I wanted to hit. Mr. John Thompson went on Big 12 Mafia. And by the way, Mr. Thompson there, he used to be executive at Fox. I think the president of Fox, maybe. Something like that. Big to-do guy at Fox. He knows more than I do about a lot of shit. But when he starts talking about, well, you know, ESPN is probably not going to do all this kind of crap behind the scenes for Florida State, because Florida State is really not that important. Oh, Lord. It's not really about Florida State being all that important. ESPN has trade secrets, right? They don't want that crap getting out. Then people can use that because they have deals with a ton of people. They do business not just with ACC, not just with SEC or Big 12. Way past that. They don't want people to use that kind of information against them in negotiations. It could end up costing them tens of millions of dollars. That's why they want to protect their trade secrets. It's about money. So that's one of the reasons they're behind the scenes, to get this crap done with so they can protect their information. The next reason why ESPN would be part of a controlled demolition of the ACC and work behind the scenes to get things done is there is a little turf battle with Fox, or a possible one. Now, the Fox and ESPN are partners. They've done a lot of business together. They will continue to do business together. But, you know, do they really want to lose a moneymaker like FSU to the Big Ten? And that's losing him to Fox. Now they have, they won't be able to show any of their games of any of their sports. It's a big fan base. It's an important fan base. Fan base to ESPN, I'm sure, would look really nice inside the SEC. So it makes good business sense for them to get something done that way. Now, if the Big Ten want Miami, that's probably okay. You're going to lose some, but why lose the biggest audience? You know, why lose the biggest money maker? That doesn't make sense to me. There's every reason in the world for ESPN to be involved behind the scenes. Now, something else about Big 12 Mafia, since I brought them up, and I'm fans of those guys. I like their show. They do good work. You know, they're entertaining and a lot of content. I don't watch it all. Can't watch it all. It's a shit ton. But they grind it. I respect them. So we put that out there. But however, they've been on this market allocation kick, which means, well, ESPN can't be behind the scenes working anything because it's against the law. Oh, the old against the law thing. Look, folks, when it comes to money and power and all that, there's ways around everything. People in Washington, senators, congressmen, even presidents break the law all the time. It's nonstop. Well, they don't get in any trouble for it. No, they don't. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? There's leaders of Fortune 500 companies that break the law, or at least bend it all the way right to the breaking point. Sometimes they get in trouble. Sometimes they don't. Depends on who you know. Who gets a little extra money in the wallet that month. A lot of things can keep you out of trouble. Now, on ESPN's level, all right, this isn't the government. This isn't a movie, right? This is why you need every member of the ACC on board. Because if you have no witnesses, was there a crime? They don't really think of it like that. I don't understand why. I don't understand why. A controlled demolition, that's not about one team. It's not about two teams. It's not about four teams. It's about 17 teams within the walls of the ACC right now. Getting everybody satisfied with a worked out negotiation. I've made a video or a couple videos on this. It's not about making Florida State and Clemson happy. It's also about making UNC happy and Miami happy. But that's still just the tip of the iceberg. You got Louisville, you got Virginia, Virginia Tech, NC State, Pitt, you got Wake Forest, Syracuse, Boston College, you got Georgia Tech, hell, you got Stanford, you got Cal, you got SMU. That's right. It's about making everybody cool with where they are and the money they are making. So it's complicated. And you can work behind the scenes to get it done. A lot of third-party stuff. Because you know what happens with third-party? All right, let's say someone is doing an investigation, trying to bring charges against ESPN for illegally market allocating schools wherever. All right. If it's some third-party guy, people at ESPN would be like, hey, we didn't ask him to do that. We don't know what the hell they were doing. And if there's zero proof, see what I'm saying? You got to have emails. You got to have a paper trail, text messages. It's not like, well, clearly it looks like, well, this isn't Russia. You got to actually bring proof. ESPN has an army of attorneys, and you better bring a shit ton of proof if you're going to bring some charges against them. So, if you're able to work out a negotiation, what I call and what I have coined a controlled demolition of the ACC, that means every school and every person involved in any kind of way has to be satisfied. They all have some leverage. They all have some skin in the game. They all have to be satisfied with how it's going to move forward. They all have to be convinced that this is the best way forward, or the only way forward. And I'm convinced schools from the bottom all the way to the top will be on board with a controlled demolition where all your top brands are gone, way more than the top 4. That, yes, that means 4, 6, maybe even as many as 8 schools get put over to the Big 12. Yeah, that can absolutely happen. And that Florida State and Clemson go to the SEC. Yes. You might say, well, hey, man, the SEC, they want North Carolina. They want Virginia. That's who they want. Or UNC and Clemson, but it's got to be UNC. But what if ESPN doesn't want that? You say, hey, we want to put Florida State and Clemson over here. You know, and maybe like we would rather have UNC. Okay. You want us to pay for a 9th conference game? Add who we want you to add, and you will get your 9th conference game paid for. What does that mean? That means the addition of 2 more teams gets everybody paid. Just like adding Notre Dame to the Big Ten gets everybody paid. If you can do that, if ESPN guarantees that to the SEC, that everybody's going to make more money with a 9th conference game paid for by ESPN, they will add Florida State and Clemson and be happy with it. Tell me how wrong that is or how illogical that sounds. Doesn't. I know there's a lot of Big Ten fans out there pushing this whole market allocation thing. Can't do it. Florida State got to be a free agent. Bullshit. They don't have to be a free agent. There's a way around that. They can get out of the ACC. But if ESPN wants them in the SEC, they're going to find a way to do it. Or take your chances in court. Because if you lose that bitch, then you're stuck till 2036 and ESPN gets your content for cheap. And they'd be happy with that. So everything has to get settled by every swinging dick in the ACC. Everyone has to get something. Get something that helps their situation. You can do that. If ESPN can find a way to do that, well, then everybody will be on board with these schools going here, these schools going there, those schools going there, and these schools staying here. And then adding a couple more to make it a 10, maybe 12 team conference. Because it's not going to go back up to a big number. Can't convince me of that. Well, ESPN contract says it has to stay above 15, 16 teams. Bullshit. ESPN can just erase that part right out of the deal. This is going to be a total reworking. And if they pull it off and whatever is left of the ACC gets rebuilt, and that's part of it, it's going to get rebuilt like quickly. It's not going to be all this bullshit like with Oregon State and Washington State. It's going to take years to figure things out and court cases. And no, it's just all going to get done. That way, those schools at the bottom, they have their conference. They can kind of rebuild it with more of a Big 12 mindset where it's all for one and one for all. Instead of how it has been, this weird hierarchy of and tiered teams. Different class system within the ACC. Everyone will be in the same class. And there could be peace. And plus they'll have a shit ton of payout money that they could disperse between their schools and make good money till 2036 or however long that deal's going to be. It'll be at least 2030. But that's it. I mainly just wanted to cover how Paul Feinbaum's a dumbass. How Mr. I think it's Thompson, former Fox exec. He smart guy. He knows more than me, but does he know it all? Nobody knows it all. And there's a few things that he might be missing about why ESPN wants to do what they want to do. He talks about certain things, but it's like he doesn't really put it together, which is fine because he's the same guy that said the Big 12 wasn't going to get Pac-12 teams. He didn't see that happening. At least not for years, is what he said. And guess what freaking happened? Not what he said was going to happen. So he doesn't know it all. And then Big 12 Mafia. Like I said, I respect them. I'm a fan. I watch their content. And as far as the market allocation thing, guys, y'all need to drop it. You know, no, nothing will happen with ESPN pulling strings behind the scenes unless they can pull it off where there isn't going to be charges brought. There is no proof that they did anything wrong, no wrongdoing. Because if every school agrees to essentially demolish the ACC, because that's what they got to do to get everybody out, demolish it, certain exit fees, and then rework it with a new contract from ESPN. That's how it's going to get done. And at that point, ESPN's like, hey, they came to us and said this is what they wanted to do. And we said, okay. We're just innocent babes in the wood here, minding our own business, trying to promote student athletes wherever we can, in freedom, and a world of no war. As the Disney / ESPN corporation always is about. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, and no war, student athletes, sunshine and rainbows all day long. And then they came to us with this. And we're so generous, we just said, hey, whatever you guys want to do. Just an innocent babe in the woods here. Nothing to see here. So, Big 12 Mafia guys, get off that ledge. Because if they can't cover their ass, then nothing will happen. But ESPN can cover their ass. There are ways to do it. And that's just the market allocation. Get off of it. Get off of it, guys. There's ways around that. There's people smarter than all of us and make a hell of a lot more money than any of us that figure that shit out. Trust me, they got an army of lawyers. They're on it. So, it's a bad take. It's a bad take. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will be back with some more crap